Oh, still no one says anything, honestly.
Listen,
We were talking about
you,
portals,
you need to
and
stop starting the stream when there's a break in the conversation.
I don't specify when the stream starts, that's when the music ends. Alright?
That's on you.
I'm gonna choose music that's a minute shorter than usual. Just to try and catch you off guard. Hello, welcome to the stream.
Cream.
Boo.
Boo. Boo or boo?
It said boo. Ghost.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ghost is not on stream yet. There it is, there's Ghost. There's cats. Cats are in the corner. What are we gonna do? Hi.
I mean, the fact that we also put the cats in the corner means we have more space on the canvas for nonsense.
For ducks.
Yeah. Ducks are important, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, we're back. It's Via. We're also joined by Dark, who's here.
Hello, I am Dark.
Dark is here.
Duck is here.
Hurrah. Yeah. How do you start these streams?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's
With
the first time being here.
With a recap. Were you not here in the first stream? No, you
'cause
weren't,
It's always
were you?
on Sundays, and I'm always doing RPGs. And so
Ah. This is the first time Dark's here. Oh my word, we have to introduce you to the way things work. Basically,
They work?
the way things happen. That's probably the better way of saying it.
I mean, the main thing that's been consistent is approximately halfway through the stream, we pester you to go, hey, spin the wheel.
We spin wheels, yeah. But yeah, we chat about stuff and doodle stuff.
We throw noodles and see what sticks.
We throw spaghetti in order to help build this world of an action-adventure game that we are constructing zone by zone. Everybody has a zone. We're randomly generating prompts for each other's zones and seeing what we can do. That's the vague introduction if you don't know what we're doing. Anybody watching the stream? Probably not. But if there are, there's an introduction. Last week, we got given zones, as usually happens, but we got given the prompt of items. If I'm correct. If not, I've done my homework badly.
Yeah, that was the thing. Items.
Items.
You've done your homework.
I have
Like
done
you
homework.
assigned yourself.
Yes.
Teacher.
I did it. I did it this morning in true homework fashion. I did one of them this morning. I did two pictures. One I did this morning over the course of about 3.5 hours, and another one I did this afternoon over the course of half an hour, and the second one looks better. So, that's annoying. But other than that, let's get music up. Let's get some good old Aid von Ziggy.
I'm moving everything.
Music courtesy of Adrian von Ziegler, as per usual. And not me, because I'm still struggling to write music. Yee.
Yeah, and we all still need to figure out instruments we might want to give you. To be perfectly honest, Chris, I'm kind of tempted to just write washboard.
Honestly, the wizards, anything can go, so.
Washboard, kazoo, something else.
Concertina.
That works. I feel like the wizards have a relatively strong, simple motif to work with, so that's not too bad. I can pretty much make that work with anything that is actually coming up with a piece of music from a motif that's a different thing. It's also trying to get... I'm sort of caught between atmospheric music and songs. And a lot of game music is somewhere in between those two things, and I don't usually exist there. So that's fun. Anyway, we're not here to talk about music, because that's incredibly boring. This is a visual stream. We are doodling and or looking at doodles we've already done.
He says of the stream where only 2 people really do a whole lot of drawing.
Well, it's just doodle times. This is duck corner. There's a cat corner and duck corner. It's not duck corner really, is it? It's just outside of a corner. Yeah. So, did anyone did Eddie do anything?
Oh, really draw anything, but I did build up sort of an idea.
Ideas. Let me doodle ideas.
More merchants.
Yay!
Well, I mean, I got the harbor, and it's like items we can
True.
use in the harbor. Well, harbor, port town, we've probably got people who sell things. And I'm sure there's like, I didn't really want to design like normal things that are being sold there. I'm sure there's a shop there that you can buy just like normal potions and whatnot, or whatever we use as our regular items or crafting items. But I do think it would be interesting if in the town we've got just like, and I don't know if you guys have them so much in the UK, but like shops where you go in and it's just kind of like, this is just a whole bunch of random nonsense in here.
Mm-hmm.
You
several
have
kinds of
those
shops like that.
everywhere.
Okay.
Just gonna say.
That's just part of the human condition.
It's just odds and ends. Like, people sell things, people buy things. No one knows what half of this stuff is. It could be an antique. It could be not an antique. It could be just plastic. Who knows? And I'm thinking it's like one of those stores where it changes, like what's in it changes regularly in the game. I don't know if it would be like a timer thing where you leave the area after and come back, and then there's different stuff in it. But I'm thinking one of them, at least, has to be an item of use, because otherwise it's like, then what's the point of this shop if there's nothing in here that's like actually good to buy? Just an amulet type thing. I designed last time sort of the idea of like, hey, instead of getting the amulet directly, you get like a puzzle box, and you have to open up the puzzle box and
Oh yeah.
get the amulet. I don't know if it'd be a good amulet. It might just be a bad amulet. You're just kind of like, oh,
Just a
well.
garbage amulet. You don't want this.
Or one of those things of there are some games, especially RPGs, where there are some items that it's like, oh, it's a off the beaten path item, but once by the time that most people would get to it, it's useless to them.
Yes.
So I know that happens in
I like
Wild Arms, the first one. There's, I think it's an umbrella, where like it's a pretty decent umbrella, but in order to get into the place you need a code, and in game you don't know the code until fairly late in the game, and then by then the umbrella isn't all that useful to you. But you can get to the area early in the game, so if you like play it a second time around and have a guide, you can just be like, hey, I'm gonna just type in the code because I know it from outside game. And now I have the umbrella.
I like to think that the amulet from the puzzle book is just always useless, no matter where you are and when in the game you are.
The amulet tells you the combination to the puzzle box.
Yes!
Oh god, they locked the key in the car!
Yeah. That's all it is.
That would actually be very funny. Frustrating, but funny.
I've got to reinforce into the mind of the player that just because they're the protagonist doesn't mean everything is going to help them. Some things that just happen in life. Some people lock their keys in the box.
Sometimes you just get keys to your car stuck in your car, and it happens.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Except maybe keep a separate pair of keys somewhere else.
No.
That's what I do. I have like 3 pairs of keys. One on my car key ring, one in my office desk drawer, and one that my dad has.
Now we know all of the locations, and now we can
Yes.
steal all of Ragdoll's keys.
I can break into Ragdoll's house and steal all the maths.
That's going to take a while because there's like 10
So many
paper
maps.
boxes full of books.
Maths
that's
books are
only
always so
some of
heavy.
It's a lot of math.
A lot of maths.
And that's just the books. That's not taking into account the rest of the stuff.
Every now and then I reorganize my room and I have to pick up the box that contains all of my old notebooks from uni, and it's so heavy.
Yeah, well, this is why when you're moving, you never fill an entire box full of books unless it's a very small box. You always want to do like half books, half like, I don't know, towels or something.
Ah, duck is sitting on a duck.
Who's sitting on a duck?
That safety
Oh,
roller.
it's a duck.
It's a duck.
Duck, duck.
Duck,
And a
duck.
goose.
No goose, no.
No goose. Yeah, so
And
you were
then-
talking about shopkeeper?
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be another salamander because it seems like some of the salamandery type people have moved out of the cave into the cities. Got the amphibian mafia apparently going on here. Or it could be, I don't know. We seem to have sort of established that we're doing sort of an FF9 aesthetic where some people are just inexplicably other races for reasons that are never discussed because it's not important.
Yeah, that's just the world.
Yeah, it's like, so why do we have this race of mice people where some of them are knights that jump into the air with javelins? Next question.
Because welcome to the world. Deal with it.
I mean,
racist,
it's very
honestly.
rude to ask why they have anyone here. Are you implying that they shouldn't be here?
But I also like it when in that sphere you get a character that's like, I'm really weird, there's no one else like me, and I don't know why. That happens in FF9 and Futurama, and it's a trope, it turns out. I'm in a weird world full of weird people, but I'm even more weird.
Yeah.
And it's funny in 9 because for the most part, he isn't.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I got the hair from. Sorry, I just started drawing a monster. What are we talking about?
Still the same thing, I think. Nothing much has changed.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, at some point we should probably try and make a character that is in keeping with Christie's original idea for what the Harbour Town was.
Yeah.
We've pretty much solidified a decent chunk of the amphibian mafia at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of why I was going for just like, it's just a shop. Because with a lot of, so Harbor Town, Port Town, you've got things coming in. Ideally, the shipments should be mostly things where it's like, we know what's in there, but I'm sure there's some shipments where it's just kind of like, what is this and why was it on my boat? Like, what are we delivering here? So, like, having some things that just sell odds and ends that no one else really knows what to do with.
Just stuff
feels
they
right.
found on the boat.
Well, I'm sure, like when you're moving stuff around, sometimes you open a box and go, like, that shouldn't have been in this box. Why did this get boxed in here?
Why are there towels in with my math book?
Or, like, things get mixed up, or you've got, like, a shipment and someone else's shipment is also on the boat. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we have a puzzle box now. I don't know what to do with this. Odds and ends dealer, you sell.
I feel like we could tie this into Mim.
What?
Mim? The character Mim? It was Dark's character, wasn't it? The mimic.
Which one? The Mimbles or the Boink the God?
No, the lady who looks after the mimics.
Oh, her.
Hey, Christy.
Old Granny Mim, yeah.
See, I remember your characters better than you do.
Well, he does have a lot of
many of them.
You did true, yeah.
And half of them are just kind of like random things that it say and then never do anything else with.
Maybe she runs the odds and ends shop. Like, people send weird things to her, and she keeps the things that are mimics and sells the things that aren't mimics.
Yeah, people just bring stuff in and think, I think this is a mimic. Can you take it? And she looks at it and it's like, that's not a mimic, but I'll take it. I can make a profit out of that. So, oh yeah, it's definitely a mimic, that. Whoa.
Be very concerned when you go in there and there's only not a mimic things on some items.
Yeah. You've got 100% no mimic, 100% no mimic, 75% no mimic.
You walk in and there's a chair that's listed off listed as 75% non-mimic, and it's one leg is a mimic. The rest of the chair is fine. It's just a mimic decided to put itself into a chair leg and attach itself to a broken chair. which is a funny idea.
Okay, so what does Mim look like? Let's try and draw Mim. Do we have an idea? I'm just thinking of the character from Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, same. That was awesome. I mean,
Which is part of the reason why I was confused, because it's like, what?
She's the kindly old lady.
That immediately implies a stoop.
No soup. She's straight backed. She's a working lady.
Okay. This immediately unimplies a stoop.
Yes. Kindly old lady. Wellingtons all the time because of Mimic Mess.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Trying to think how to incorporate mimics into her design.
I mean,
Might have
Just have,
might be
like-
something just like hanging out on her.
clothing items that are kind of like mimics. Just, you know, they're moving, they're living, they're mimics. But choose wearing them because they don't harm her.
I
Or
love
maybe
being
they
close
do.
to
You don't
old
know.
Grandma Mim.
I mean, I figure it's sort of like with cats and dogs, where it's like technically these are predators, but somewhere along the line we just sort of trained them out of seeing us as a food source in the physical sense and a food source in the they will give me food sense instead of they will be food sense. Or maybe they're just like mimics that are too small to see a person as a meal. Or it's just kind of like, ah, yes, this is my hairbow mimic. It just sort of eats flies.
I think it's very much in the case of these mimics that belong to Mim. It's very much like with like how cats domesticated themselves.
Yeah.
Like there was just enough prey just hanging out in like Mim's vicinity, and they were just like, yeah, this seems like a good solution to our, you know, hunger problem. We're just gonna stay here. Now we're kind of semi-domesticated, but it's fine.
My original thought for the mimics was they're all actually nice and pleasant creatures, but they just got a really bad rep because they kept like tricking people, and then adventurers got involved, and it was just a lot of misinformation. So they ended up being like hated and everything.
So
I mean,
like cats.
I figure mimics are probably like as far as the world is concerned, they're like an ambush predator type thing. 'Cause it doesn't seem like they move around. It's just like I'm gonna just sit as a thing because that doesn't take a whole lot of energy. And when a rat walks by, it's like ha.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you know
I
what
imagine-
happens when you poke at something that has teeth? It pokes back because you're annoying.
Yeah. I mean, like, you get a couple of evil wizards to keep them as like pets in their dungeons, and adventurers stumble upon them, and then they get a bad rep, and oh no, kill all mimics. And
There are no
it
bad
is-
mimics, only bad owners.
Exactly. And they weren't even bad owners; they were just a bad adventurers. Just bad adventurers. Always blame the murder hobos.
I mean, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, let's say Lady Sybil is very much my idea. Very no nonsense person who wears very sensible clothing, and is horrendously rich, but dresses very shabbily because of it, because they know they're rich.
There was
I love Lexi.
a post I saw somewhere that sort of put the whole idea of sort of your RPG adventuring party in sort of like yeah, that is sort of weird type thing. Where it's, I don't remember the exact phrasing of it, where it's just kind of like, imagine walking into like the corner store and there's a guy with just a whole bunch of weaponry strapped to their back. asking about where the governor lives and then leaves like a $500 tip or something.
It would be disconcerting.
And Christy is having a bad anxiety.
Oh
Oh,
no!
no.
Yeah, Christy's having a bad anxiety week, so... Oh no, Christy.
Well, hopefully you can have nice, relaxing watch times. Don't have to join in if you don't want to.
Yeah, don't
We don't
stress.
have to.
No obligations.
No obligations. Whatever's good for you. I've been having a bad anxiety week, and doing the stream is how I'm getting away from that. So we all deal with things in different ways.
Yeah, this week isn't my anxiety week, but I've had a few
Hooray.
anxiety weeks.
Hooray for not anxiety week. This week has been Borderlands week.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this has been how I have been dealing with my anxiety weeks for the past few weeks. Just Borderlands.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, exactly. Just, yeah. As long as it works, it's fine.
Yeah. I was playing Devil Summoner on Friday and Saturday. Died. Got over it.
I mean, to be fair, most of my anxiety stemmed from one thing, which was that I am trying to, talk to, a professional about my anxiety. Yay, step forward.
Hooray!
But so I'm on a waiting list now for that. But they want to do a like screening conversation over the telephone, and to apply for that, I had to make a phone call, which doesn't go well with anxiety. It's a very contrary system,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So I was just having a bad time. Until they called me, which was better. Still not great, but better.
Yeah. I feel that.
It used to be Star Wars, Harry Potter, and then Witcher for you. Yeah. Mine was Drawfee for a while. Oh yeah, Christy shared a Drawfee challenge that they did.
Yeah.
As a kind of, hey, do you want to do this? Where one person draws a celebrity and describes what they're drawing and how they're drawing it to somebody else, who then has to draw from their instructions alone what they're drawing.
Yeah, I watched that episode and was like, should I put this in Discord as like, hey, we can do this? I don't know.
The thing is,
I don't know if we can.
we were bad enough at just doing the description bit. Like, this is
That's
one
true.
more step on top of that.
I mean, I think like Christy would have to do, the drawing, the the drawing and describing, because I can't.
We found out the hard way that you and Chris's way of thinking about how faces work is in direct opposition.
Yes. That's the wonderful thing about art. There's lots of ways to do it. That's also the annoying thing about art. There's lots of ways to do it.
And Hero.
There's a hero!
Hero is here.
Hero is here! How is Akira? How's your anxiety?
Ah,
week?
here it is. Imagine you're in a 7-Eleven and 4 armed people walk in, ask if they have any ballistic armor or stealth drones. try to buy energy drinks half off because they just solved a murder, then ask the cashier if they know where the mayor lives. Then when he tells them, they leave a $500 tip. D&D parties are menaces to society.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it is very weird.
That depends entirely on the party.
Sometimes in the process, they will try to seduce the bartender.
The Odyssey party is just a big ball of friendliness.
Oh yeah, how did Odyssey go? I forgot to ask.
Phylan is the best, and he outdid all of the music.
He is the best at jumping.
Nice.
And Phoebe
and-
helped.
Hooray!
Again, there was a big climactic battle between Gregor and the new friend Bulbug that ended in like just me getting horrendous luck at the last blow.
Yeah. As Dark tends to do.
It was in a position where I looked at it and went, he downs Gregor now, or he just gets downed himself next turn, which isn't a problem. But it wouldn't make sense for the character who's a raging barbarian at the time to just back off and not do everything he can.
No, I loved the battle because it was very, like, both going all out. It was just, like, it would have been so great to see, like, Gregor win that.
I mean, he did it as all. He broke his weapon in the first fight. That I didn't expect that, and I'm very happy he did that because he used his brain. What do you do with your pen? Well, I've got a weapon that can just break items. I'll just break his weapon.
Yeah.
And then he kept trying to throw him on the floor. That didn't work until the very last bit where we managed to throw him on the floor, and then he just stampeded over him because he's a minotaur.
Exactly.
Hooray for Stampede.
Modern solutions for modern problems.
But yeah, I didn't expect every single one of us to like Bulbug so much. But he's great. I love Bulbug. I'm gonna have such a tough time deciding like who we want to take with us because I just
know,
want
it's
to
great.
take everyone.
It must have feel like picked all the characters that everyone would immediately love.
I just want to take everyone with us. Just all the companions. They're better heroes than we are.
They're better fighters than a couple of you. It's kind of why they're there, to fill the gap, because everyone else is like what, 3/4 of the party pick basically support roles.
Yeah.
More support roles than like fighty fight. You know, give a helping.
If you play your cards right, all you need is one person who can hit things.
Yeah, exactly.
And a bunch of other people to distract.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I just Bulldog is great and Phylon is great. I love the Surfer Bro. Phylon is the one where I'm just like, I love him more every time we have a session. Because every session I just hear him speak and I get so happy.
Yeah, and he's but a young lad.
A young Surfer Bro sounds
I
out.
think he's like 16 or 17. He's like
Really?
super young. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, I love him even more now. That is great. I didn't know he was that young.
I mean, it does take a slightly different tone of like, are we going to take this person with us? Are we going to abduct a minor? Are we like?
I mean, we're not abducting him. He wanted to
First
come
thing he
with
did when
us.
they met them was he was drunk and said, "Yo, dude, wrestle me."
who are his legal guardians? I think we need to speak with them.
His legal guardian's dead.
Oh.
Who are his next of guardian?
He's next up Guardian. I think it's us. At this
Oh dear.
point.
It's the booze.
Yeah, like, it could be you guys. It's fine.
I guess Phoebe just has to adopt him now. That's
You've also got Karina, who is also like
who Phoebe also
just,
has
just shy of
adopted.
18, I think.
Yeah, but we knew that because she was introduced to us as like a teen or like a younger individual. And I assume she got, like permission from her parents.
Yes, she got permission from her dad.
Yay.
I'm just imagining like the character's just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna go on a hero thing. Here's my permission slip that you need to fill out.
I mean, yeah.
So that I can go on the adventuring field trip.
Gonna make sure you got a packed lunch.
Which is really funny. And there's actually a webcomic that I read where adventuring is sort of like there's forms because adventuring is sort of like a freelance job thing. And there's a essentially a guild that handles that sort of stuff. And like if you are part of the guild, it's like a union type thing, and so that there's forms involved for people who are wanting to commission jobs, and then there's forms involved if they are not happy with your job. It's really funny because so he's not like the main character of the story, but the leader of the adventuring party in this story is a large orc gentleman. So it's just really funny to see him sitting down and filling out their paperwork.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think if you had like an administrator who had to deal with the public, making them an orc is probably a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an orc barbarian, even.
Perfect.
Hello, I am public relations.
You wish to speak to the manager? Slams fist on table.
I mean, he's very polite about it. It's just also he's a large orc.
I do like the idea you go into a shop to complain and then just like Dwayne the Rock Johnson comes out wearing a suit. I also like how so enthralling the world of Project Via is that we've talked about like 3 other fantasy worlds during this stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's partially because we're sitting here going items, items, items. Because, like, regular items always feel sort of like it's whatever. I mean, sometimes I even, like, forget what items are called. I just remember them by what they do. So, I mean, especially if, like, the name of the item doesn't lend itself well to just describing what it does. So, like, in Pokemon, Potion, Super Potion, that was sort of easy. But in the SMT games, I always have to remind myself what Somas do. Because I can never remember what they do.
Ooh.
That's Philo. He's cool. Got a good beard.
Wait, is that a 17-year-old?
I mean, I have seen
That's
many 17-year-olds.
Listen, that's why I didn't think. That's why I was surprised. Do you understand now why I was surprised to hear that?
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I work with high schoolers sometimes, like that age range, and I will be in a class where we've got one person whose voice hasn't broken yet, and another gentleman who has a full beard.
Yeah, I had that at like school. I had people with like that amount of facial hair and just body hair and stuff. It's like, how are you like 15, 16? What?
I had sideburns. like big old sideburns. At the end of school.
back in the
Couldn't grow a
60s.
full beard.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
it
Like,
was in
I
fashion
can't
back then.
believe it. I can't believe that he is like 16, 16, 17, but it's not like something I would have naturally thought of.
Yeah, it's his stories. He ended up with a soldier. Like it says years ago, so I don't know how old he would have been. But yeah, it's definitely described as him being a younger, like, so 16, 17, maybe 18, 19?
How old do horses tend to live?
Depends on how likely the horse is to just freak out when a rabbit shows up.
The centaurs age like people, so.
Well, so I was thinking, like, it's not unfeasible to believe that a centaur's life expectancy would be roughly the same, or roughly in between the two somewhere. Because most of their body is horse, right?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain that all of the aging process exists in the brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm very, very sure they physically they age quicker because they kind of have to be like centaur and horse. But
I mean,
stand
I
up.
figure as infants, they're probably more like horse babies than human babies because human babies are entirely useless.
yeah, yeah, centaurs have to learn to walk pretty early, I imagine.
Well, roughly walk, stumble. Enough to get by.
But these meant to be
More
like
than human
important
infants can do.
legends.
Friend of mine's kid is like 16 months old now, and she is not able to walk yet without assistance.
Your friend or the kid?
The kid.
Okay, cool. I suppose there's nothing wrong with not being able to walk without assistance. I just wanted to clarify.
But yeah, horse babies can prance around awkwardly just immediately, which is always funny to watch because they do not know how legs work, and they are mostly legs.
You see,
I'm just sitting here sketching out more ideas for the mistake, but I mainly it just looks like a weird round frog.
Again, frogs are nature's mistake. We learned this. What do we got going on
Nice
here?
concept.
We have this gentleman.
Yeah,
What
I was
gentlefolk?
like, let me make something for Christie's harbor that actually, looks like, a time, like what Christie intended, and then I just made the cousin of the Monopoly Man for some reason. That's just
Chris,
what happens, I guess.
I don't want to be a downer or try to infer anything here, but I do like, as soon as you said I tried to make something for Christie's zone that would fit, my bot immediately said user ChrisArtsy left. Now, my bot is normally like a couple of minutes behind, and occasionally tells me people left when they're still here. So I wouldn't read anything into that. It just made me laugh.
Chris, is your design here wearing very toothy?
It's mostly mimics.
Bracelets.
It's mostly mimics. The earrings are mimics. The bracelets are mimics. The aprons are mimic. One of the slippers is a mimic. I haven't got around to that yet. Mostly mimics.
Living
No,
like
you do. Yeah, see, Christy is still here. But it's just fun. It's just my bot just user ChrisArtsy left. Just exactly as you said. You got chamomile tea. Marvelous. Hello, Sophie Mo. Soph. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Really
if
hard to draw something that's lumpy. I'm finding this out.
yes, because that implies more detail.
Therefore,
Smooth is easy. This is why Kirby is popular. If Kirby were lumpy,
Be gross.
everybody take some time to imagine a lumpy Kirby.
I don't know.
Take some time.
No.
It's sister-in-law, sister. Sister. Hey. I seem to recall they've popped in before, and that they stream. Now I don't know if this slipper mimic, copied the slipper that Mim already had, or Mim got a slipper that to match the mimic. But doing a good job. I don't know who this monster is. There's a monster there
Trying
now.
its best.
Ooh. Hello. Got some more fun mistakes.
Yeah, that was more my idea. Like you'd have the central. What did I call them? What was the name?
We might need more information than that.
Yeah, sort of the
Blob.
central body, and then there's just things sticking off of
Amalgamation.
it. I still
No,
liked the phrase of the worst flesh Katamari.
Yes. It just kind of moves almost liquidly and just kind of around like. So
Liquid.
I'd imagine the scene would be you'd like get told about it's going on by one of the groups of the thing, and you'd sprint there and have to fight all the enemies and everything, and then you'd get in like a boss battle near it, as a couple of like I don't know, big buff
sorry.
ones or smart ones or whatever are breaking the seals, and then it will break open. And the people who are breaking it immediately get grabbed, and there's just this horrible scene of them getting melted into it, and their screaming faces appearing, and it just kind of slides out and starts eating it, just absorbing everyone.
Charming.
And you've just
With
got
a
the
stick.
faces stuck on the sides.
Yeah, he's got loads of screaming faces that are all people
Oh, where did it go?
they're still kind of sentient.
Where did it go? It vanished. Sorry,
Yeah, be roasted.
I'd just like to point out, after I pointed out that my bot lied, it decided to crash. So I had to reopen it. It's having a strop. My bot is having a strop right now. Yeah, sorry, Sophie. What we're doing, this is a little project thing where we are sort of designing the world of an adventure game, but we each get a zone in the world, and we're sharing each other's zones around and designing things for it based on random prompts. Yeah. If you want to see some of the stuff that we have already made, there's a page. I've used the command. 9 weeks in, I've used the command. Yeah, and there's a gallery up there with a bunch of stuff, some story ideas and whatnot. Needs updating, but it always does stuff with me. So yeah, apologies for the very loud dinging sound. That was the sound of my virus checker deciding that my bot is maybe a virus. That's the second stream in a row my virus checker's been annoying. But yeah, we're just throwing ideas around and seeing what happens. This is a character of Darks, who is adopter of orphaned mimics. And so I'm just trying to incorporate as many mimics into their design as possible.
Just nice little guys.
Yeah. I don't know who this is. I just made them while I was waiting.
Looks like a Muppet.
Yeah, it's a bit Muppety, isn't it? Maybe they're Mim's assistant. I don't Yeah, sorry, I meant to do this at the beginning. I made things for homework this week because I haven't the past couple of weeks, and I feel bad.
I mean,
Oh, hang on, Kiro's thought of stuff as well. There's Kiro stuff in the project. Been trying to think of items for the Golden City, and you thought of a couple of possibilities. One is an armament of some kind, like a mask or sigil or something, that creates an illusion around the player character and makes them look like a denizen of the city. That's an interesting idea. Another one's a special lantern or compass that points out hidden secrets or passages. That's cool. Sorry, stuff like that was discussed earlier. It was not. Maybe the lantern or compass points out mimics instead. I like the idea of that kind of secret elucidating lantern. Sounds cool.
yeah, love a good item that reveals secret
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, especially when it gets later in the game and you're like, right, I know there's still things here, but I don't really want to comb through all these areas that I've gone through.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what I've already done.
Yes, that's cool. The Dark's been posting inspiration for. On the flip side of this happy whimsical world, we have the stuff that Dark's been posting as inspiration.
Everything else is nice and pleasant, pretty much. I'm just like, no, it's some darkness. Horrible, horrible place.
Horrible, horrible. So yeah, so there's some nice differences in tone in the locations.
I mean, I
Yes.
like the mistake as a final boss fight for the floating city. Or a potential final boss fight for the floating city, depending on what you do.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Um,
I just like the tone shift, because the rest of the world kind of feels like a Zelda-esque sort of thing, and then you get to the flying city, it's just, oh, this is Dark Souls. No,
I mean,
okay.
Ocarina of Time has an area that
Yep.
you go into that is a torture chamber. So I think that still fits with the Zelda aesthetic of something
Yeah.
places are nice and then you walk in and it's just, oh, this is a torture chamber.
sometimes they're under the well, sometimes they're in the sky. It happens. Speaking of happy, fun Zelda times, I made a drawing of the blood elixir
Yay,
that we were
blood
talking about
elixir.
last time. So what would ground soup? What was it we're calling it?
Yeah, right. Ground soup, yes.
So the idea being is that there's these sort of pools of red liquid around the world, which, unbeknownst to the character at the start, are like portals to, or they're connected to the afterlife in some strange fashion. And we decided that maybe the character drinks some of it and it powers them up, not knowing what it is until later in the game.
In a
And-
very like, oh, I can interact with this little puddle. Oh, why I drank it?
Yeah.
Why did I drink it? Why?
Yeah, there's an
Why was
interact
that
prompt.
the interaction there?
There's an interact prompt, and just immediately the character drinks.
I mean,
What?
that's the equivalent of in Fallout. It's like, toilet, interact. Oh no,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. Why
Um,
did I do that?
So on stream, the idea I had was just I was trying to think of like a container that would be very quick to obtain for the character, and something that would just sort of be ubiquitous. But I forgot. Originally, I did it as like a leaf thing, just a bundle of leaves sort of wrapped together like a newspaper carrying fish and chips. But then I remembered that we start in a cave. There's not a lot of leaves in a cave, so I thought of a rock because I'm smart. But then I thought of like a stalactite or a stalagmite because they've got like concentric rings inside and they could be hollowed out. So that's what I
You
did.
just breaking off parts of the cave.
Basically, yeah. So that's what I added crystals for fun. Don't know why. Not too happy with it. I also went with this kind of weird, slightly otherworldly viscosity for the liquid.
Yeah, ground soup.
Ground soup. Yeah, so I just imagine the character just sort of breaks off a stalagmite or something and scoops. Leaves can blow into it. They can blow into a cave, yes.
I mean, we already know that our hero is starting out as just a feral weirdo, which is probably why
Yes.
the wizards latch onto them.
Also, if you want to look up like references for stalactites, stalagmites, and stuff like that, particularly ones that have like broken off, so that you can see sort of like the nice concentric rings inside because they're built up sort of sedimentarily over time usually. Gosh, they look phallic, just universally. And it's like I don't want to have that in the design blank. Thank you very much. So I went with a more sort of Cornetto-esque look.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. The other thing, because I think what was it? We all got Limbo. Was it last time, or I got Limbo? I can't even remember what I got. What do we have?
I think you got
You got the world, and we all got Limbo.
Yes, we all got Limbo. And the only thing I thought of was the poppy, because the place is full of poppies. We also had the idea that poppies had thorns for some reason. I can't remember why we were talking about them having thorns. Anyway, I also did a picture of a poppy with thorns. There we go. What's kind of annoying about this one is that the first picture took 3.5 hours, and the second one took half an hour, and the second one looks a lot better. So, what you gonna do?
This looks amazing.
Very
this
hard to make it look.
amazing. What the fuck?
It's also
Also
very
does-
creepy.
Yeah.
But considering where it's from, that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the contrast between the stuff I draw on stream and the renders that I do elsewhere. It's fun. Evidently, my idea of doing detailed art just is Bloodborne.
That might be why you like Bloodborne.
Maybe.
It speaks to you on a
Really?
stylistic level.
So yeah, Poppy and Blood. Next time I'll draw something happy. Maybe, depends what the prompt is.
I mean, it's halfway through. We can.
We'll get enemies
What
again, and then we'll all be like, crap.
Yeah. Yeah, we can spin the wheel. See what we got.
In the wheel.
Spin the wheels.
The
Plural.
wheel of fortune.
The
Or
wheels?
misfortune, depending on...
Usually,
view of it.
yes. Let's get those wheels spin. Here's the wheels. There they are. Hopefully they're on stream. They are on stream. Ha! So yes, on the left we have all of the people and all of their zones, and on the right we have a prompt that we can get. Speaking of Bloodborne Souls games, apparently SGDQ is going to end with Elden Ring. I saw that it's going to end with Elden Ring and then possibly a bonus other Elden Ring.
Yes.
Of like playing the whole game and then playing basically none of the game. Yeah, I'm gonna spin. Spin! Clickety clackety clickety. I didn't add click clack noises because I thought it would get annoying. Ooh! Locations! Places, buildings,
Ooh.
things of import that are not entities, although you could fit in your pocket. Yeah.
I mean,
so
I'm sure the wizards can make a location that fits in your pocket.
probably yes. They could probably make
Yeah.
themselves fit in your pocket, and it's very weird.
There's a door in your pocket now.
Yeah. So Oobs has the viaduct. We all have Chibi's caves, so we can all make
Ooh.
ruins and post offices. I have the floating city, so I get to design some fun, weird stuff. You're gonna jump again. Have a good stream. Thank you for popping in.
Oh, I mean, you already know that there's an arena type thing where I think that somewhere inside, deep in the arena, is probably where the mistake is being held. But beyond that, no idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get architectural ideas from Dark.
And the mistake is definitely held right next to the generator where no sensible person can go.
Hooray!
Don't be alarmed.
Alarm!
Oh, Dark, you get the wizards.
Please.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, Christy. Again, we have been
Maybe.
talking through chat, but hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so, etc., etc. Chibi has the harbour, so you get to make the mafia den, what have you. Dark has wizard nonsense, so you get to describe some weird wizard places. You can describe the tower, if you want, or whatever else wizards are up to. Christy, you get the abyss,
Ooh.
fun underwater places. We haven't really fleshed out the abyss very much, have we? That feels like something that would be interesting to explore, because apparently there's like different villages and things going on down there at different depths. So yeah, we get to talk about places. Ragdoll, you get the Golden City.
Oh, yay, I get to look up fancy architecture.
Yeah. The architecture could also be living in this instance. I seem to recall designing a gate character.
Yep.
Clamps gets Kiro's forest. Lewis can have Limbo, so that's a nice easy job. And Kiro gets the world. Kiro, you are in charge of designing the world.
Design
Or-
a world
I
building.
figure that mostly means like locations that are not in a particular zone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these
Locations-
places have like in between spots. So like Hyrule Field for Ocarina of Time is sort of the in between zone.
Yeah, that could work. I thought that was, I guess. Yeah. Or you could do a kind of like the rest place that like crops up in different zones. So like in Resident Evil, that's like the safe room. It's reduced down to like just the bonfire in Dark Souls, but just, you know, every location will have the safe place, and maybe that's similar for each one. I don't know, maybe. Or you can design a building that moves. Not gonna stop you. Is that a puppy?
Uppy.
Yeah, he's hiding a bread he stole from the chickens, and he's very sad about it not being hidden well enough.
Oh no.
He's struggling.
Oh, lace. It's kind of what you were thinking, the safe zone or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Save points.
Save
Or
points.
save points.
Safe points.
I mean, I figure these days with modern games, I'm always sort of annoyed if you can't like save everywhere. But I sort of like with what how Dragon Quest sort of handles it, where you have saves and you have quick saves.
Hmm.
So like the save points are where you can do like all of the things, and then the quick saves you can come directly back to this later.
Ico.
Ducky is having a time.
Was having a time.
Now he's just out at the moon or something.
Dog opinions.
Lace.
So yeah, maybe we've got a thing where you can save anywhere, but you've then got your bonfire equivalent where you go to the bonfire to actually do anything like useful as far as
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah, like yeah, like in Resident Evil, you've got like the places to save and store items, and I guess that's it. But
Well, I mean,
theoretically,
in your early Resident Evil, it's a horror puzzle game, so that's pretty much all you have. Save the game and reorganize what you've got in your pockets.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do also love another nice unintended side effect of this. Is that every time the dog makes a noise, again on screen, Christie's little character opens their mouth, so it looks like Christie's barking. Which is adorable. Right, I honestly don't know where to start with Dark's Place.
I am.
So you say
The locations?
just in terms of trying to visualize, because I know you've given like references for like what it looks like in general, but in terms of like a specific, because you've You were talking about this thing being by the generator or whatever it was. So, but I can't even imagine how, like, what that is.
Be like you'd have the actual power source sort of thing, which would be a huge crystal inside like a glass container,
Okay, yeah.
and there'd be a
that
lot
sort
of weird like liquid and everything because it's not stable. Lots of very esoteric machinery about it.
Oh, see, now
I
I'm
guess the prison
imagining.
would just
Okay.
be like underneath. There's just this big ominous vault with loads of scribbles on it, massive chains with more writing on it.
I mean, I guess the good news is, Chris, that most of the people that are in the Flying City don't know what's going on in there either.
True. So what I am now imagining, which is a good sign because I started this the previous sentence with "I don't know what to imagine," but I'm now imagining that there's like this power system in the center, and it's this quite big room with this, you know, weird crystally thing. I imagine it doesn't look particularly healthy. But
No.
big crystally thing, and then there's like tubes and liquid and all that sort of stuff. But it's like this big sort of open area with the thing in the middle. And this is the arena in which you fight the mistake, and you fight it around the crystal, and you have to make sure it doesn't hit the crystal.
Yeah.
So that sounds fun. I'm
The
designing a boss
intent
arena,
of doing it
apparently.
there was to flood its chamber with like the matter to just kill it. So breaking the crystal would kill it, and it would also make the city plunge into the earth or ground, whatever I'm calling it.
Well, maybe that's just something that
Whatever
happens
it's
over the
above
story.
at that particular moment.
Oh, in that case, like, I was gonna say, well, I said you got to make sure it doesn't destroy the crystal. Maybe, but now I'm thinking like maybe that happens at the end of the fight. The crystal gets destroyed when you kill it, and then the thing comes crashing down. Then it's part of the story. But
Be
now,
the no choice. You could fight it legitimately, and it's a really hard fight, or you can like make it hit like machinery and break bits, and then kind of doom the city to fall into the earth. But you'd kill the thing pretty easy.
okay, so you can have sort of like a
So yeah, so either kill the thing correctly and create a potential massive catastrophe depending on where it's above, or be the good guy and do it right.
I mean, given that we don't have to make this game, which I think is a big factor in how, how much
Yeah.
spaghetti we're allowed to throw
'Cause
around
I wouldn't want to design like a continent-sized floating sea.
here. But I like the idea that it depends on when you do this in the game, where like above where this place is. So if you fight this thing early in the game and it comes crashing down, maybe it falls into the port city. Maybe if you do it later, it falls into the forest.
Yeah.
And that has different ramifications for different parts
Yeah.
of the game.
So you could make friends with the pilot, and then he could just you tell him it's gonna happen and just fly over somewhere like not populated.
There's a pilot, you say?
Yeah. I mean, it probably, like, with the whole idea of the multiple... With the multiple factions we can sort of ally with. That's just me posting stuff for possible Golden City ideas. I'm trying to just think of, like, what's the most, like, fancy-looking building things we can make out of rocks. But yeah, with
It's
the
a
multiple
ghost.
endings things... I feel like the stuff where we're essentially doing what Life and Death wants you to do for fixing stuff, you kind of have to get the different areas to sort of let go of whatever it is they're doing that's messing things up. And I feel
Right.
like one of the things with the floating city is just kind of like, hey, we have these factions that are fighting over the leftovers of the city, and it's just kind of one of those, right, look where that's gotten you. Let's just put this whole thing down and move on. Because otherwise we're going to get more of these things, more of these mistakes coming up.
And how well you do in that convincement dictates how many monsters you have to kill.
The worst thing that would happen if the mistake would get out is it would go off and absorb all sentient life on the planet.
Hooray!
That's fine.
Hooray! It's a cancer!
It's more like an amoeba. It just eats everything.
This reminds me kind of do you remember when we did our Fool's AU of Dark Souls 2? I was like, let's make a story in which these bosses can actually do something. And we had the Rotten as like, we called it the Amalgam or something. And you fought it in like little bits and pieces here and there. And I can't remember exactly what we said, like the fewer of them you fight, the more of them team up at the end to make the final boss or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if we can recycle that idea.
We probably can recycle a lot of those ideas.
You know, because it's not like, you know, it's not like it's attached to Dark Souls 2 or anything. It was our
No.
idea.
Hold on, let me see if I think I still have that file, maybe? Hold on.
I'm trying to... I think this says a lot about me. I'm trying to make something that feels sort of almost a little more industrial version of something like H.R. Giger would make, but it's turning into Doctor Who. So... It says more about me than anything.
Yeah. God, I forgot how weird these notes get when you look at them like 2 years later.
We haven't done one of these for ages. We should do another one.
It's like writing comments in your code. You
God.
think it feels fine now, and then future you looks at it later and goes, "What the heck is this nonsense?"
Yeah. But yeah, you were essentially right. Like the more of like these, or like these little bits of the collective, as we then call it, that are like walking around, and the more you beat, the weaker the collective is gonna be in the final fight. That's what we thought at that time.
Well then.
The little bits were called clumps.
What are they now? We were funny.
I don't remember the exact reason why they were called clumps, but it had something to do with plants. That I do remember. I don't know how we got there.
Blame Plamps.
Oh, I think it's because of, like, we call plants, then we call them plumps because of pineapple lumps. So plumps, and then collective lumps would be clumps. I think that was it, or something like that.
Okay, right. I mean, Clumps is a fine name. It's just like... This is the final boss of the game.
No, the final boss is the collective. You defeat the clumps to make the collective weaker.
This really is turning into a TARDIS.
I mean, nothing wrong with a good TARDIS or bad TARDIS.
Yeah. If I wanted to draw a TARDIS, I would have finally acted upon the oldest post-it note I have on my desk, which just says Bloodborne TARDIS. But we're not doing Bloodborne TARDIS, we're doing Arena in which you fight the Amalgam in a floating city.
Yeah. And then, I guess, like, the later in the game, the worse the chamber would look. Like, if you did it really early, it would be with bits of, like, red on the crystal, and mainly, like, a nice healthy blue. But if you did, like, right at the end, the crystal's gonna, like, horribly red, and everything looks just demonic. Because the crystal's
Oh, that is actually an interesting idea. If you're going for the, quote, best ending, whatever area you deal with first is sort of better off, and whatever area you put off till later is worse off.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm.
Yeah, saying that the longer you leave it, the less more reluctant the pilot is to actually agree with you or like.
So every location we design has to have multiple versions.
I'm very glad we aren't actually making this game.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's a big factor, the fact that we are not making this game.
Yeah. As a, like, from a programming standpoint, this would be horrible. As an idea,
I mean,
though, it's great.
this is why whenever you're making something, especially if it's your first something, the phrase is limited scope.
Yes.
The first game you make should have just sort of a simple idea. The first book that you write should probably be less of a book and more of a short story, etc., etc.
I have that trouble with the games I've tried to make. I will make a game. Oh wait, hang on. I'm trying to make a game that usually takes a team of 20 people several years. Um, what we got going on then? Also, Dark, how did you set your profile picture in Agio to be your duck?
Oh, you just select it with one of the tools and you can make it your avatar.
Yeah. Dark
It is
is
very
too
funny.
Dark is too powerful.
That is that just a duck.
You can't see it on stream, but you got little profile pictures up in the corner, and I've got, for some reason, I still have Ditto Hitman.
I could make it the soul lamp.
No, it's just funny to me that you started this stream by going, this was too intimidating, I don't know what anything does, and now you found a feature that I didn't know existed. Look at this friend.
It's a good cat. No, it's a fun feature. I don't know how it's like. Yeah, it's just like right underneath select all, does select all. It's just set as an avatar. That can be duck.
Yeah. There you go. We have a nice kelp friend, kelp head friend, with rosy cheeks and a nice smile.
So nice. Christy's art is nice.
His art is nice.
I'm sorry if I made a sound before. It was because I had drawn all of it and only the top had actually been drawn apparently. So I had to draw it again.
Oh no.
That's why I didn't make an exacerbated sound at anyone. It was myself.
Yeah, more accurately, the program you're using, because it's like, I thought I did a thing, and it didn't
Yeah.
have the thing. I'm also currently making exasperated noises at programs. I'm trying to make documents in such a way that a student of mine's screen reader will read it, and it continues to not happen.
Oh, is that still
Yeah.
still presenting an issue?
Yeah, I made screenshots of the thing, because basically it's like, okay, well, maybe it's having an issue with, like, what Word does whenever it's making shapes and whatnot in it. So it's like, okay, we're just going to have it be an image, just an image pasted in there with an alt text attached to the image. And apparently it's still reading off nonsense. And it's like, cool.
Great, I love that.
Most certainly cool.
Ooh.
Not frustrating.
Yeah, don't you love it when the accessibility tools don't actually make the document accessible?
Alright. Kiro has been toying with an idea. The player character meeting an NPC at each safe zone, a random traveller who's also on the road, maybe a friend or something, who holds onto items for you, or maybe runs a little shop of their own wares or something. Think about the possibility of them not being there at a safe zone later on. They're missing or in trouble or something. Yeah, that's cool. That honestly would explain. It would be a neat way to implement the item box, of like a way of storing your items in a place and then traveling somewhere else and being able to take the same items out of the box that is in a different place.
Yeah.
You know,
See, the fun thing is that was sort of the idea I had for what the wizards were supposed to be doing, as it were.
Oh, right. Maybe this person is your wizard liaison.
They're the
Which is-
wizard of the box.
What
It's
if?
my item box. No, that's the name of the wizard. Their name is my item box.
What if the safe zone were just a bunch of doors that lead to just this extra space? And people come and go as they would wish, as long as they've got the keys to the doors.
My item box. Wonderful.
I think I broke Chibi.
It's exactly what you were thinking, yeah. Trying to think of an item box thing, thought of that. It's a good idea. And I like the idea of the later jeopardy of like, because it's a way of getting the player invested in the character, even if they don't care about the character at all. They're just like, hang on, where are my items? oh no.
Oh no, my item box is gone.
Yeah, and having
The
an
character-
NPC that is just sort of wherever you need them when you need them is also sort of convenient. The 2018 God of War game sort of has that. In the sense that well, not really. Well, actually, yeah, they are a shop. You can buy items from them because you could buy weapons and other items for them. There are two dwarves who are siblings who do your armor fixings, and they're your shop essentially. And basically, in every location, there's a spot where their shop is, and they are always at that shop except for some plot relevant points where plot is happening, so they are not at their shop because you're in the middle of a cutscene and they are not at that location. And it's explained out of, like, I mean, gameplay wise, that makes it very convenient. You've got the same two characters, so you're interacting with them in a bunch of places, and you care more about them instead of Nurse Joy number 5 going on like that.
Hey, look, when you have Icosa tuplets, it's got to care
But
about
yeah,
each one of them just equally.
In story, the explanation is so they're dwarves, and dwarves apparently can sort of move sort of in between the plane. Chris, I'm going to use some explanations that probably will only make sense to you and me. It's sort of like we're living in a 3D world, and then they just sort of hop into a fourth dimension and move around, and no one can really like perceive that. So to everyone else, it just looks like they're vanishing and reappearing.
I understood that.
Yay, Dark understood it too.
I
Hooray.
understand extraterrestrial spaces and moving in different what's the word? Planes.
Yeah. I did. Somebody I follow on YouTube has posted a video of a game that is called 4D Miner, which looks like Minecraft but in 4 dimensions. I don't know how that works, but that's a thing if you want to look it up. The scalene triangle.
Yeah, so they don't like teleport. They're still moving from place to place, but they can move very quickly from different locations because they're moving differently than everyone else.
They teleport in 3 dimensions, but not in 4.
Yes. And it means in-game wise, anytime you are in an area, there's a spot where you can go like, right, he's going to be right there. I can go right here and get my stuff fixed, and it's going to be one of 2 people, depending on the area. And then you can just interact with them more, and it helps build your character more. And it's nice. Kiro, I believe, is planning on playing the game, so I won't spoil things with those characters. But yeah, two dwarfs who are very good at making weapons. That's fair.
So
There's a lot
I
of
mean,
games I have on my list where it's like, when am I going to play this? Which is part of the reason why I've been streaming Devil Summoner, because it's like, I want to play this. Let me play it so that other people can see it as well.
No, apparently they're putting the Persona games on PC now. So
Yes. That makes me excited, because beforehand, 4 was really the only one that had been brought to anything that wasn't a PlayStation system. And now they're doing 5, and also 3. Although it looks like it's just a port of one version of 3. Don't know what they're going to do with the other version of 3, but they decided to put the version of 3 that allows you to choose the gender of your protagonist.
ooh.
So Persona 3 is one of 2, I think, maybe 3 SMT games where you get to sort of choose the gender of your hero. And the only Persona one.
Well, I would expect if there is a series that would put a heavy emphasis on a particular character, it would be a series called Persona.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, with all of the, well, actually most of the SMT games in general, you have a silent protagonist,
Oh, right.
and your character's personality is determined by your origin. And really, with the Persona games, you get more character development with everyone else, which leads to some funny things, because Persona 2 has 2 games. It's a duology. And the main character of the first Persona 2 game is a party member in the second game. And one of the party members in the first game is the main protagonist of the second game.
Oh, that's interesting.
And yeah, I think it's partially because it was made for the PSP. I believe Persona 3 Portable has a simplified battle system as opposed to the regular 3. So it's probably not a bad place to start if you're interested in looking at Persona stuff. But yeah, I'm excited about that, because that means if they're looking at porting things to more systems, they might port other things to other systems, and maybe get some things translated that are still only in Japan. Because hilariously enough, the game I'm playing is not the first Devil Summoner game. It's the third Devil Summoner game.
Yeah, I found that out while trying to look it up. I was like, oh yeah, let's look up this monster from Devil Summoner. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's a sequel to this one, and it's listed as, I believe in English it's listed as Devil Summoner 2, even though it's the fourth Devil Summoner game.
Oh, good.
But to be fair, it is the second in this, like, sub-series to the series, as it were, because it's more Raidou. And the first Devil Summoner game never left Japan. And the second Devil Summoner game only got a release in outside of Japan on the 3DS. So much later, there was a remake port thing of it released outside. So the first Raidou game was the first Devil Summoner game outside of Japan.
Right. So it's a bit. this reminds me of the whole Final Fantasy thing. Of Final Fantasy 2 is 4 and 3 is 6. Because
Okay, yeah, Kiro. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. So in Persona 3, it's a little easier to handle the battles because you don't have to worry about AI stuff. Because of, I believe it's because of limits from the PSP. But
well, I mean that
we've
style
got,
of
in SM2 we have a similar problem of not everything got ported.
that style of combat. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was just
AIs are weird.
One day we will learn to talk without with the social cues and
No.
never. That's not who we are. No, I was just gonna say that kind of only controlling the main character and everyone else being AI is at least in the Final Fantasy series currently the vogue. So you may say limitation, others would say design choice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one thing to do it when you've got sort of an action-oriented battle, and it's like there's only so many things I can think about at once. But save for the Raidou games, the SMT games for the most part are all turn-based.
Um,
I mean, it's one thing to do that in FF12, has got sort of the action battles going on to a certain extent. It's in a weird cross-place, like MMOs. It's got like a weird MMO style, except there's only one human person controlling things. So in that one, it's sort of understandable to be able to set some sort of AI, but in turn-based games, it always seems sort of weird to me, unless... I mean, there's some games where you've got an argument of you have to work for it. Like, I think... And it's been a while since I played them, so I don't remember if this is actually true. The Dragon Quest games also have a Pokemon set. You've got Dragon Quest Monsters, where you can recruit monsters and have them fight for you. And I think in that one, there's at least one of them where there's a system of when you initially get a monster, they sort of just do what they want, and you have to sort of raise your affection with them in order for them to listen to your orders more directly.
Lovely. That sounds thoroughly uninfuriating.
I see Dark is just moving around, changing his icon. It was the duck earlier, and now it's the Monopoly Man.
Now it's that. What have I got? What am I missing? Ooh. But what's this triple lift?
That's wizard nonsense.
It
That's
is
the wizard that went, fuck gravity. So his tower leads to 3 separate places, all in different planes. And if you jump, you can potentially fall and take falling damage on the levels below. So you have to be very careful. It's just a big
Which way is
puzzle
up?
area.
All ways are up.
Yeah,
Where's
that's why
up?
they've
Where
each
are
got
you?
they've each got things saying up.
Which way is up is very much dependent on which way is down right now for you. But,
I imagine it'd be like a big, really screwy MCS Escher sort of puzzle thing.
lovely.
Will there be a point to this? I don't know.
The wizard wanted to do it.
Yeah.
That's the point.
He's probably going to be plot important, which is why it'd be really irritating to get. He will always be in the last tower you check. Always.
We also have a building. Looks like a little bank. I don't know why it looks like a bank to me.
building.
What's in the building? Looks nice.
I don't know. I was trying to think of like buildings, and I was like, "This is just a building. I don't know what to do with this."
Is this angry fluffy friend in the building?
I don't know, maybe.
My building.
People
Is
were
this-
talking about Final Fantasy. I didn't know what to do.
Well, we're talking about SMT.
Yeah, also that I also don't know what to do with that. So you
I
know.
mean, to be fair, neither do I.
To be fair, SMT fans also don't always know what to do with it.
I know is that now we have a
have
little
it
girlfriend friend.
As weird as the plot has gotten so far, I can almost assure you it will get weirder.
Hooray!
We have 4 more chapters, 4 more episodes to go within the storyline. There is plenty of time for things to go off the wall and possibly into space.
Probably.
Cool.
Look, it's an anime. It's allowed to go into space.
I mean, we've already got part of a rocket ship just lying around in a junkyard. There's a non-negative probability we will be going to space. Also a non-zero probability that we will be going to space.
A positive probability. Also, we have coloured mermaid friend and sea slug.
Nudie branch.
Nudibranch. Nudibranch, whatever they're called. Sea slug. This feels like it could have been an alternate universe advertisement for like Adam in Rapture. Big duck.
And now Chibi is drawing another duck.
Big duck.
I don't know. Perspective works.
Nobody does.
How does perspective on duck?
Hey Google, how does perspective on duck?
I mean, hey Google, how does perspective?
Specifically on duck.
You need to know for duck.
I'm not drawing everything else right now, I'm drawing duck. How does perspective on duck?
If I had an elixir or something like that, I would make it end all sentences with for duck.
Hey Google, how'd you make the for duck elixir?
Guy from the duck cult knows the answer to that.
But nobody believes him.
Is this the inside of... What is the interior you've drawn, Chris?
I was trying to think, because apparently you find this is in Dark's floating city, and we were talking about the mistake being kept next to the engine that keeps the whole thing up. And I was just trying to get an idea as to what that would look like, and then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the place where you keep the engine is the arena in which you fight the mistake? So I tried to come up with an arena that sort of goes around the crystal that is used.
Fun and perfectly ridiculous, just like a Resident Evil. Like,
It's got, yeah.
why did
it's got
they
a kind
do
of-
this? Oh, that looks cool.
When you've got something that you know could devour the entire world, you probably want to put it next to the nuclear reactor.
Yeah, it's a sensible
Yes,
thing
obviously.
I mean,
Perfectly
I'd
sensible.
blow up the city to make sure that thing didn't get out there.
It's like perfect PS2 vibes.
Also, I guess that it could also be, powering the cell to keep him, like, unconscious and stuff. It's in, like, stasis sort of thing.
And that
So-
would explain why, if you fight them later in the game, they're harder. Because they're
Yeah.
more awake.
Yep.
As the power system is failing. I feel like this is another one of those instances where I honestly feel like I could make a better base in Blender and then draw on top of that. Because there's a lot of symmetry here. When there's perspective and symmetry involved, Blender's your friend. Blender's your friender.
A dog is blocking the road.
A duck is blocking the road. We need the duck whistle. A duck is
Yeah.
blocking the duct.
I mean, that was the only thought I had for an item this week, was just the duck whistle.
Hey, it's an item. It's
I imagine it, like, you get it from the duck cult guy after you do, like, a quest for them. You know. It's probably a case of, like, in the item description, it says, like, you can, like, attract ducks with it, but you play it very badly and it just scares the ducks away.
Which is funny, because all you really do with a duck whistle is you blow into it.
Yeah, but you do it very badly.
You try and play it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You can't play it. It's a single note thing.
We have to have very good lungs.
So now you scared the massive duck away, and now the duck cult guy is angry at you again.
Yay, there it is.
They have a sign up that tells you whether or not there's a blockage.
This happens very often, apparently.
They've got a system.
I mean, to be fair, they have a, like, duck cult person around with a duck whistle that apparently attracts ducks, so,
Yeah.
you know, it would be a common problem.
This many days since the incident.
This many days since Axiduck? What is it?
Excellent duck.
Exeduct.
Is that the name of the duck?
I think that might be the name of the forms you have to fill out.
That's what. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to
Fill out
say.
an
This
Axiduck.
this fluffy friend. We're going back to our conversation before of the orc administrator. Does this friend like do paperwork in the bank?
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
They have to wear a shirt and tie that the floof just poofs out of.
Yeah.
I never did
They-
end up drawing the I had
they
an
like-
abominable snowman character in October and Co. who was like that.
Yeah.
Never got around to that.
But yeah, they work as like a secretary to the mayor of the Arbor Town or something like that. Just
I think I
something
can...
silly.
I trust them to keep my secrets.
Yeah. They're very good at their job. That's why they have it.
You know, I think I'm just going to share a picture of Org doing his paperwork in the Discord, because it's very funny to me.
Sharing pictures? What do you think this is?
Project Via.
Correct. 3 points to Chib. Next question.
3 points, Chibindor.
Gibberin?
Is this a priest dark?
Oh yeah, I was gonna...
The pilot.
Oh, the pilot.
Mm. Very
I think
alien-like.
the-
I
a
don't know if
little
that's
It's a little bit unsymmetrical because he's old. He's had to replace some bits, and he's got one of his eyes is got an eye patch because he's meant to have 3.
Interesting. Eye patch for the third eye.
Yeah. Well, kind of got like poked out.
Also a hockey stick.
That's an arm that's severed. He's not had a chance to get any maintenance on himself.
I mean, they have to like keep flying, I assume.
Yeah, well, the ship will fall. That would be bad. And the rest can be behind his back, because then they don't have to draw as much. Hidden behind other stuff. Many arms. Also not symmetrical.
That comic is like... This is the thing, when somebody says webcomic, or webtoon as they are now, I always have an idea in my head as to the kind of, you know, the look of it. And this is a much higher quality than I was originally expecting.
You never know what you're gonna get, huh?
You never know what you're gonna get on the internet.
You can get like little stick figures or something close to it, or you can get the most detailed thing ever.
Yeah, you can get
There's
just
another one of Orc doing paperwork.
all the orc body hair.
I like the mad old woman.
Oh, the character designs are very good. I mean, it
Yeah.
helps that the artist, the main artist, because there's a couple of people who work on this comic doing various bits of putting the comic together, is like a professional illustrator. She's currently taking a break on working on making the next chapter of this webcomic because she's on a contract with Disney
Okay.
for making another thing.
No, I'm taking a break from my webtoon to work on Disney.
Yeah, that happens more than you'd think.
Yeah.
I follow
it's
somebody
just-
who recently had that.
It's just quite a concept. Like imagine being able to say that to a friend group or family. Like even your family would know what that means. Like working for Disney.
You implying Disney is some sort of well-known name or franchise?
No.
That's slowly becoming, well, not so slowly, that is becoming a monopoly.
Yeah.
This was another conversation I had the other... Sorry, were you going to say
No.
something?
Nope.
I was just going to say I was watching a thing about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who framed Roger Rabbit? He says clearly with consonants. And that was like one of the original sort of big crossovers between like franchises. It had Looney Tunes characters and Disney characters in it. All that sort of stuff. Before that was a thing, and they demanded the same amount of screen time for like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. They had to be on screen for the same amount of time, etc., etc. But they were sort of talking about it, and it was like, does anyone like Mickey Mouse? Like anything Mickey's done? Not really a character, is he?
People like
I
it.
mean, there's some cartoons he's been in, but most of the ones I can think of that are like well loved and well remembered, he's definitely not the focus of it.
That's just the weirdest sort of part. It's like, it's the logo of the brand, but it's not really a character anyone likes.
It's like
Sorry.
like Jelly Bean, I think.
I mean, I think Goofy is more well beloved as a character than Mickey
Oh,
Mouse
yeah.
is.
Goofy, Daffy, like there's loads of characters that they've done that
Movie.
would be more suited, but for some reason. Sorry, what were you saying, Chip?
I would just maybe that's me growing up with like because sorry. I'm just I
Take your time.
have talked about this many times with before, but the Donald Duck comics I have talked
Yeah.
about, you guys didn't know about that for
Yep.
some baffling reason. 'Cause
Never
it's
heard
so-
of 'em.
Because they mainly stayed in your countries. They didn't really get over here.
Yeah, but like that's
I love Duck.
also confusing to me because Mickey always has like at least a comic or two in those. And there are like pocket editions which are entirely dedicated to him. So to hear like someone say that he is not a character is like really weird to me because he is. I'm not a particular fan of him, but he is.
That's it. Again, see, it's interesting. There's cultural differences
Well,
depending
see,
on what they
that's the
want.
fun thing. Like, he's been in things. Like in the '90s, I think there was House of Mouse, where like the outside premise was just kind of like, oh, we've got Mickey Mouse running like a restaurant show place, but then most of the show was like a bunch of shorts of other characters that are quote unquote being shown in the restaurant. So it's like,
I
eh.
like
mean,
that
like-
show.
And I think there was like a newer cartoon with Mickey and some of the others where Mickey's just an entire gremlin, apparently.
I have seen clips of that. That does actually look quite good, to be fair.
Yeah, that one's also a bit weird to me, but that's again because I have grown up with a very different version of Mickey Mouse apparently. 'Cause-
Exactly. Like even me, who didn't grow up with anything, I watched those cartoons and I'm like, where did this character come from?
Yeah.
This doesn't
Yeah,
feel
like
like
I
the
think
Mickey Mouse
from
at
what
all.
I remember
I
of
mean,
Mickey
I
Mouse
like
in the House of Mouse, he's playing sort of the Kermit the Frog type
I was gonna say, like,
position.
it sounds like a Kermit thing you're talking about, and Kermit is a character, so they managed to make
Yeah,
that
I mean,
work.
Mickey's mostly there to try and curb the insanity, but everyone is a cartoon,
Yeah, it's
so
kind of,
it's like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, friend.
Mickey is more of a mascot than a character to me.
again, we are
I guess that
slowly destroying Chibi's mind with these statements.
Yes. I'm so confused. But yeah, the whole like that's why I was very confused when the new like Mickey Mouse cartoon came out because I saw clips of it and it was indeed like Mickey is an entire gremlin in that. And I was so confused because he is definitely not in anything I've ever seen him in.
Yeah, it's almost as if there's not a consistent character because no one knows what to do with him.
I mean, I think it's just like for like different media, I guess, because like for all the comics, which again have been going for like probably like I don't know how close to a century, but like at least over 60 years, these comics have been a thing. And in those comics, he's always been a pretty like consistent character, at least from what I've seen.
Which is, I'm intrigued. I want to know what's the actual character that this character has.
I mean, tends to be like a little bit of a not completely straight man character, but like tends to like you have the weirder character when like Goofy is around, you have the weirder character of Goofy, and then he is kind of like the straighter man to that. Again, he is a detective, which I think I also said then, but I don't know if that has stuck. But he is a detective. That is his actual job. He works with the police and catches criminals. He has like several criminals that have like come back over and over again. So that's very fun.
Also completely alien to me.
Yeah, because yeah, I don't know what to say because to me it's so like obvious what he is, but it's again like I've read these comics weekly for my entire life, essentially.
I
I mean,
always skipped the Mickey Mouse parts. I thought he was always kind of a Karen. I didn't want to read it. Like, it was always so mean.
Sometimes I don't know. I don't tend to like Mickey because he is like a very like he has kind of flaws, but his flaws are so like minimal that it's kind of like, he's like a very like per quote unquote perfect character.
Hmm.
Well, if he's supposed to be the face of the company, I have a feeling there's a lot of there's a lot of the mouse will not let you do this to the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, and that's where that come from. But yeah, he's
I
he's
mean, that
very
might be
much
why
like
he feels so
always
flat
the
to
good guy of like again like he works with the police, he catches criminals, he's a detective, he like I mean he has his like girlfriend and Minnie, which like there's never really like a problem in their relationship or anything in like the comics or anything like that. It's like very like normal good standard behavior. Um,
yeah. I mean, like I said, before the cartoon where he's sort of a gremlin. As far as US stuff, the only things I can think of where you've got Mickey as a substantial character are there some animated movies, but those are
Yeah.
always like based in a world of. So you've got like the Three Musketeers, but with
Yeah,
Mickey
that
Mouse.
one.
I love the Three Musketeers movie. That one's
So
great.
it's
Yeah.
always like we're sort of constrained by the story that they're sort of trying to retell here with Mickey Mouse characters.
Like a
And
theater
older
piece.
than that, if you go far enough back, you go back to like Steamboat Willie type things, where again you have Mickey Mouse being an absolute gremlin,
Hmm.
but also those are black and white cartoons, and the purpose there is a bit different.
Did
Most
anyone else get
characters at that time were
nightmares
just
from those
gremlins.
things as a child? Those
From which
really
ones?
old Mickey Mouse things?
No.
Mm,
I haven't, but I can understand why a child might, because the thing you have to understand is cartooning in America, at least, was very much a extension of slapstick comedy, and you can sort of see this with your old Looney Tunes and your old Tom and Jerry's and your old Steamboat Willies. They're doing a lot of things where it's supposed to be funny, but we're doing it funny using physical comedy, but it's extreme physical comedy because we can get away with that because we're not dealing with actual people anymore. We're dealing with cartoons. But some of that more extreme physical comedy can feel off-putting
Yeah,
because
the
it's
animal
like we've now got
cruelty,
this
I
nice.
like, bah, nope, couldn't deal.
I think that's actually what I don't know if you are familiar with The Simpsons, but in The Simpsons there is a cartoon in Simpsons, so it's a cartoon within a cartoon
Yeah,
called Ren and Stimpy, which is supposed to be playing off of the Tom and Jerry type thing, and it takes that gross slapstick from the old cartoons and takes it even further because that's what The Simpsons does.
I like
nothing.
it's
Take things, take them to their extreme absurdity.
I do like it's because in The Simpsons there's Itchy and Scratchy, but you said Red and Stimpy, which is even
Oh.
more extreme.
Yeah, and that's a different one. Sorry. Yeah.
If you got nightmares from Ren and Stimpy, I fully understand.
I got nightmares from just seeing pictures of it on the internet as a wee child, not knowing what it was.
It's made to look gross.
Yeah. Ugh.
Essentially, that's the aesthetic they're going for. Which, to a certain extent, there's nothing wrong with going for that aesthetic. It's just
It just is what it
not
is.
for me.
It has an effect.
Yes.
You
It
know,
makes you feel an emotion. It's just that emotion is sometimes yuck.
the more the more you learn about a creative discipline, the more you realize there are no good things and there are no bad things. There are just causes and effects, and you use the causes that give you the effect you desire.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to make a wholesome Mickey Mouse, happy, go fun, lucky for the kids thing, and you did it in the style of Ren and Stimpy, it's not going to be successful.
And yet,
But if you do it bespoke, Ren and Stimpy, we want to do weird stuff, it'll work. I want to show off this cover because Detective Mickey stories are the only ones with Mickey that you like. That's what you think of. It's the only thing I've sort of seen, because I while we were talking about this, I decided to look up Mickey Mouse and see if there was any mention of them being a detective at all, and I couldn't find anything.
Might just be a comics only thing, probably.
I mean,
Well,
it's just
even
really
under the
weird to
comics,
me.
like
Because, like, companies making a thing and the thing not really leaving the country that the company is from sort of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to me that these comics are so well known in an entirely different country.
Thing is, okay, hang on, let me get the Wikipedia page back up. Because the thing I quite like about this, I looked under comics on the Wikipedia thing, see what was there. And where was it? I'll find. Here we are. In Europe, Mickey Mouse has become the main attraction of a number of comic magazines, the most famous being Topolino in Italy from 1932, Le Journal de Mickey in France from 1934, Don Mickey in Spain, and the Greek Mickey Mouse. There is no mention of the Netherlands in there at all. And certainly no mention of detectives. So.
I mean, I think it might be because he's like part of the like overarching like Donald Duck comics, which are
That's what I was going to say here. This picture that you gave us says Donald Duck presents Mickey Mouse, which is funny to me.
But there have been like specials of him essentially, where it's all Mickey.
All Mickey, all the time.
All Mickey. I don't think I've ever seen those jumbo books. I don't know. Maybe that's like the cover is throwing me off, but I don't think I've ever seen those.
We're gonna have to find some of those and send them to you as a present.
Yeah, it's just so odd to me that these comics are so well known and so well beloved and used so much in a country that the company isn't from.
I guess that's why the company was successful. It worked out its niche in every different place.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, it is very much of like the comics started in like the US and like we got like the Dutch version of it. And then it became so successful here that like they moved the part of the company that made those comics and put it over here.
Yeah, let's adapt and improve. Hi, Gusenberg. Hello.
But yeah, that's why. Yeah, like Mickey Mouse as a detective is like very like. I've grown up with that. It's like a very much a thing in the comics and like all these things, but that apparently are only comics that I didn't realize that like others didn't get. That's very confusing to me.
We if we had them in the US, they definitely weren't as marketed.
Because
like I said, that's just odd to me.
Here it's like, I mean, we're like subscribed to them, so we get like once a week. We get those comics, but there is like a complete like section essentially like of like our local bookstore franchise, which is dedicated to those comics. It's like an entire thing because you have the normal like weekly thing that you can subscribe to. Then there is like a Daisy version, which is more catered to girls. There's a junior version for people for like children who are younger. Then there are like the pockets. Then there are like the like holiday special books essentially. Like presume that like this time of year the summer specials are there. Then there are like more specialized comics, like they recently did like a whole like series for like history, like Disneyfied history. Uh, then there are like the Super Donald pocket books, and you know, I believe like they recently also came out with like a to a thing dedicated to the nephews. It's a whole thing. There's
Evidently.
so much.
Like over here.
And I've
See,
heard
and
of
that's just
literally
really
none
funny
of
to
it.
me because in the US at least, the stuff that Disney tends to market the most is IPs that they bought. Stuff they're making with IPs that they bought as opposed
Yeah.
to IPs that they started with.
Like I say, this all sounds like they're making stuff. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's strange. I feel like those magazines would have done really well in the US too.
I don't think it necessarily would have done well here. We sort of had our own tradition of British comics and stuff like that, so that
Yeah.
that niche was already sort of filled. It doesn't hold a candle to the Beano or the Dandy, I'll have you know. We need knobbly knees.
I was about to say. Do you remember, Chip, did you follow recipes of Grandma Duck in those magazines? Because I remember doing that.
I believe
There was a
I-
Grandma Duck's something cake.
I don't know if there might have been some in there, but I do know that there is like a dedicated cookbook of her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cookbook of
It's
her.
awesome. Oh yeah, it used to be at the back of the magazines. There was a Grandma Duck's column.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Those
don't know if
knees.
that's the same kind of column, but there's like
Looks like the legs are about to fall apart.
Yeah.
Just like
That's quite
Snap.
extreme.
There's
Good
a
old.
broken bones.
This is the British Dennis the Menace. Because we invented Dennis the Menace basically at the exact same day as America did, and completely different characters.
Although from what I understand, our one's actually a menace and the American one's not really.
The American one's a nuisance, I think.
yeah,
Ours
the
is like
American
proper
Dennis the Menace
vandalism.
is just kind of like
Such is the way
yeah,
of
the
things. Anyway,
American.
oh,
It's just funny to me, where it's just like sort of the same thing, but not really. Because yeah, the U.S. Dennis the Menace is just sort of like an 8-year-old that does not really get. They're a menace in the same way that any kid that age is. They don't understand what's going on, and they're going to just sort of do things, and then deal with the consequences later, or not deal with the consequences later, as the case may be.
yeah, no,
Yeah, no,
ours
our one
actively,
actively causes problems.
yeah, goes out of the way to cause.
To be a menace, as it were.
Ooh, there's a website dedicated to the comic. Welcome to the Project Via stream, where we consistently talk about absolutely everything except Project Via.
We like being nostalgic and learning things and stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is the prompts have been items and then architecture, which isn't exactly
Look, it's
the most
it's
riveting of conversation topics.
It's finally different from characters and enemies. What more do you
Yeah,
want?
those are the interesting things, the living things of the world.
Honestly.
I mean,
Complained
we
out
could
for too
spend
many
all- we
characters.
could
Complained
spend
out for
all
not
this
enough
time making, like,
characters.
all the items and stuff just for characters to stubbornly go, no, I will not use any items in my playthrough. I will just use a sword.
Yes. But I like to read about all the items.
Think of all the people who do all the hard work for all the animations and everything for the items, Chris. Think of all the people.
And I'm sure they make a lot of people happy. I'm a selfless person. It's not all about me, you know. Anyway, my project. No.
Your project that we've hijacked.
with Mickey Mouse.
Important, okay?
I wanna get the Donald Duck magazine now. I really, as an adult, I've wanted to several times. Every time when I went to a corner shop, and I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't. I'm an adult. It has a toy with it.
Look, if you're an
Just
adult,
get
you
it.
get to
It's very
choose whether or
fun.
not you do.
If it's anything like the ones we have, it's very fun for all ages.
As a
I
child,
mean, being
you're
adult just means you can buy your own Donald Duck comics
Yeah.
instead of waiting for your mom to buy them for you.
exactly.
Yeah.
You are an adult. You make your own decisions.
I'm gonna. When I get money next month, I'm gonna buy a Donald Duck magazine.
Yay!
It's-
I have every
it
intention
is
of looking at this
the greatest
website
thing
afterwards.
and also the worst thing of having adult. You can now buy everything you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says you. You need money first. Also, yeah, the pilot's not looking good. It's been a while since I've
No.
looked at them, and they're a bit worse for wear.
Yeah, like I was just joking while you're talking. Yeah, he's not in a good way.
Okay.
I mean, I have arms to spare.
Luckily, yeah. It's like when you see a spider and they've only got 5 legs left. It's like, well, you still got 5.
He's got 3
know?
left.
It's one more than I've got. So.
I also like the label Unleash the Quacks of War.
Yes.
Cry Havoc.
Oh my god, can the viaduct have a quack doctor?
Quack Doctor.
Yes, is the answer. The answer to that is a resolute yes.
Yay.
I mean, you have to get your healing somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it heals you, 50-50.
Also, at some point, I accidentally cut off the bottom of my drawings in the bottom right. That's fine.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of slowly.
I must have dragged the layer at some point.
That's what I
It's
was
on.
thinking.
I can screen cap it from the stream. It's fine.
I've saved an
I
image.
mean, you might be able to still move it back up.
No.
Oh, nope, never mind.
I checked.
Just ahead now.
So now my little gremlin monster is poking above the bottom of the thing, going.
Oh, and the
What's
cat's
this?"
disappeared. Just entirely.
Ah, thank you. There we go. Boom! There they are. Christy, my savior.
Yeah, I could do something.
Yeah, you can do loads of things. You made this cool mermaid friend and their nudibranch companion.
Yeah, definitely not a Ariel carbon copy with her little fishy.
Oh, cute. People are allowed animal friends. That is not owned by Disney.
Yeah.
Everything's owned by Disney.
Or, whoever actually wrote the original story.
Hans Christian Andersen.
That's the
Yeah, I
one.
was about
I
to
know
say.
it was 3 names and it ended with Anderson, but I can't remember the other one.
That's one of the things. I mean, Disney might try and push you out of the market, and they've done that a couple of times with things, but they do not actually own fairy tales. They also do not own the holiday of the Day of the Dead, despite the fact that they have
Yes.
tried to
Oh, yeah.
make that as well. Okay, so
Oh no.
there was a movie, 3D movie. So Disney is, trying to make it so it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna own all the things and make all the things, because trying to make it so that we do everything. So there was an animated movie that had come out that was not Disney, oddly enough. That had basically was made by people of sort of Latin America and Mexico descent, that was using a lot of sort of Hispanic holiday imagery around Day of the Dead, because the Day of the Dead is fairly important with those as well, called The Book of Life. And The Book of Life was really popular, so you've got the story of sort of hero's journey thing, character dies, travels through the underworld, through all of this sort of Mexico-based imagery and mythology type stuff, comes back to the land of the living, saves the day, saves their family. Disney then makes a movie, which ended up eventually being called Cujo? No, that's not right.
Coco.
Coco. There we go.
Oh,
Yes,
I
knew it
love
was a C.
Coco.
Yes, Coco. Coco was what its name ended up being, because originally they were going to name it Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, i.e. the name of the holiday. And they tried to copyright that as their name of their movie. There's a problem with that. You cannot copyright names of holidays because they're holidays. This is part of the reason why there's like 50 bazillion different movies that have the word Christmas in their title, because you can't copyright the word Christmas because it's a holiday. But Disney is dumb, and they tried to copy the name of a holiday. They
Disney.
lost, and then they changed the name to Cujo. I haven't seen Cujo myself, so I couldn't say one way or the other whether it's a good movie or a bad movie. The art design for it, I will at least say, is good. But that's what I can say with a lot of things from Disney, where it's like there are some very good people working on these things, but Disney as a whole, as a company,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some great people working for it. Again, there's a lot of people online who's like, I've got to quit my webtoon for a bit because they need my imagination down in the Disney mines.
I love Coco. I haven't watched Disney movies since before I stopped at Tangled. Because I was like, I'm too adult to watch this on my own now. And I never got back into it until Coco, and it made me like cry for an hour after or something.
Oh yeah, like from what I've seen, it would definitely not surprise me that it's a very good movie. But just the whole what Disney was doing beforehand with their copyright stuff, it's like, this is
the difference.
shitty.
It's the
That's
difference
not
between
surprising.
Disney's creative department and their legal department.
Oh yeah, and you've sort of seen. Has anyone seen the stuff that oh, what's his name? The guy who did Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah. The S&P standards and practices emails.
Yeah, so a lot of people, once they are making creative things, there's all sorts of contracts on it, and depending on contract breaches, depending on what company you were breaching the contract on, that company, especially if it's Disney, can probably make it so that you can no longer work in that industry again. However, it's been, 10 years now? I think? Something like that. It's been a while since this cartoon was produced. Also, he is taking advantage of the fact that he is so well known, there is no way that even Disney is going to be able to completely blacklist him from working in the industry. So he's released some of the actual notes that S&P gave him, and they are all ridiculous.
Fuck yeah. The fact that they can do that and only that the person is this well known, they can't bury him, is just... Why does Disney have to own so many awesome things? 'Cause fuck Disney.
Yeah, Disney as a company has never been good.
There's a link to it. There's a video in there of... It's not the original tweet. I don't know where the original tweet is.
Thank you.
Put a link in there. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, I forgot that. I didn't read the entire thing because it was in the middle of the night, but...
Coco made you cry in the theater. You had to pretend to go to the restaurant to wipe your face during the credits. Oh no, Kira.
Considering I'm aware of the fact that it's got like some family themes going on in there, that does not surprise me. Like, and I've seen Encanto, which is the most recent movie they've made that's got Hispanic stuff with it, and listened to interviews with people making it, and you can tell, like, the people who made it, a lot of heart and soul put into it. But Disney is Disney, and from its conception, Disney has sucked. Like, even you can't even say like, oh, someone else took over and then it went to... No, Walt himself made animators' lives hell.
Mm.
Not a pleasant
He
man.
was just a monster.
So yeah, it's just really upsetting because it's like we've got all of this good art being made, and then like you said, you've got this disconnect from the art side of things and the people who are making the executive decisions.
It's so annoying. You want to support good art, but you have to support.
We
the
want to support good
overall.
art, but we also want to support good business practices.
Yes.
Yeah.
'Twas ever thus, good art made under the commission by horrible people. Hopefully, with the advent of technology, we can start to approach something where the money goes directly to the creators, but we'll see about that.
I mean, YouTube animation stuff, like, that's good stuff
Yeah,
happening.
things like that. A lot of creators being
I mean, it
supported
sort of
directly on
depends.
Patreon, etc.
Because the thing that also happens when you're working with like small artist things is some of them don't always know good business practices themselves. I
Yeah.
see this all the time with YouTubers where I'm sitting here thinking, dear God, I really wish you had some HR people who could some HR or PR people who could tell you this is not how you treat people and or this is not what you should be saying in public. So you've got one Hell of a Boss, I think is what it was called. Or is what it is called. Has Been Hotel, something like that, where you've got like a the premise is we've got this like hotel in hell, and you've got these characters that are in hell and like terrible people, demon things. And I think the premise is there's like sort of the idea is like they're supposed to eventually like get better so that they can leave hell. But apparently the person who was sort of the head of producing that didn't treat the animators well, and a couple of people didn't fully get paid.
Oh, good.
Oh.
So it's like,
Didn't
oh dear.
It is not a good sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
When you
And
said people not...
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, when you said people online who don't really know how to run a business, I thought you meant like me, where I just don't know what to do. Not like, oh, you have a business with employees and you're not paying them. And like, at the very least, I could say if I had employees, I would give them money.
Yeah, and then there's like contracts and expectations and whatnot, and like, yeah, I will admit there are some people where it's just like, yeah, you don't quite understand what's going on. That's part of the reason why, and I don't know how prevalent this is, but I if it's not, it should be more. Where I teach, we've got some art and fine art and music and performing art degrees. And I believe every single one of them requires at least a couple of classes where you talk about how to do business in that field of work.
Oh, that's dope.
And it's like, yeah, to a certain extent, this is sort of more important than knowing how to make art, is knowing how to do a job that involves your arts. Because especially if you're working for yourself, or you're working in a small company, or you're heading a small company, this is important information.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we wrap the podcast up there, or?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's good.
Yeah, made some good stuff.
Made an item for the afterlife. The soul lantern, so it guides your way.
Soul lantern.
I like how it looks like a bunch of faces on it.
Yeah. You put souls of friendly people or not so friendly people, and they guide you. It's all like, but by choice. It's just aesthetic.
If it's unfriendly
Also,
people,
also
it's very
depends on,
flickery.
you'd be like who you want to trust, because if you trust someone who's a trickster, they're going to lead you the wrong way into danger. If you trust someone who's like a nice person, they'll lead you the right way.
Fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
mostly just
so-
been sketching and cleaning up a very spiky building
Spiky.
Yeah,
with
so
very tall
it's a-
doors. A very small stick figure for scale.
yeah, the solar lantern could be like an in-game compass because it would like glow brighter and stuff if you're going the way they want you to go or suggest you go.
Ooh.
Because I like in-game indicators for stuff.
Yes, that's always nice, especially when you're dealing with a large world.
Yes. And also the pilot, and this gentleman, and this bank, and this monster that works at the bank.
And
The idea
gentleman
of you
probably
walk
also-
into like this bank and it's like, oh, it's like a Yeti doing paperwork.
Yeah. Secret Yeti. And on
It's
that
just
note,
really funny.
oh, and also let's not forget the Nudie Branch and their friend.
He were blocked by Duck.
And big old. My brain thought I had a pun there, but it didn't. So I'm just gonna say duck.
Duck.
I have no idea what pun my brain thought it had. Anyway,
It's a stuck
thank you for
duck.
coming along. It's a stuck duck. You're stuck behind a duck or in front of a duck.
Yeah, big duck, little duck, cat in a box.
I think my brain was trying to combine duck and blockage, and it thought that duckage was a pun, and it's not really.
It's a fun word though.
Duckage.
Duckage.
Yeah. More stuff to flesh out this world. Fun ideas, characters, things happening. Eventually we'll work out how it all connects together. Maybe.
Or not. Or we'll get through the wheel twice and just go, right, moving on to something else.
Yeah. We have almost reached or been given everybody's zones. I think there's like 2 more spins and we will have gone round the first wheel all the way. Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah.
And then we will work out how it all fits. Definitely. We will definitely do that.
Yep.
Definitely.
I've also just realised that the music in the background is probably so quiet nobody can hear it. So that's fun. I'm going to end the stream now. I'm going to be back on Tuesday playing Neo. Feel free to be there as well. I won't be angry if you are or aren't.
Yeah, summer ourselves.
Yeah, good AI. And it's fine. Yeah, have a lovely week, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for having good times. Hopefully good times. And
Bye.
bye!
See you later.